Hello and welcome back, everyone. It's puzzle time with Sudoku Sleuth, and today we're playing Center Diamond. Now, like recently, I've been doing a lot of thumbnails without any detectives in the pictures. So I really wanted to sort of go back to the core of these thumbnails, which is today we're having what is clearly a detective inspecting the security around this diamond. Although with a diamond this size, I'm not sure there is any security that will keep it safe. What else am I going to say? So unusually, I'm recording this at relatively late in the evening. It's sort of 8 p.m., which is like, given when I start, crazy late for me. Normally what I do is actually record before I start my day. So normally I like 5 or sort of 6 a.m. So you're going to have to forgive me because I'm definitely a morning person if I'm a little bit slower than usual in today's solve. Now, the actual puzzle, you're probably going to somewhat recognize when I put it up now. Let's take a look at what it is. Well, I think what would first help is actually having, the puzzle visible. Let me fix that. And we're back. Right. So the puzzle is visible now. And you're going to recognize that center diamond in there. We've played a very similar puzzle to this. And I can't even remember its name. It definitely had diamond in the title and was also by Dr. Logic. And it had this very familiar puzzle, which is made up of these gold lines, the green in the middle and the purple in the middle. And I definitely remember having some kind of revelation or analysis at the end that says that this is actually highly restricted design, that there's only one of two ways of solving it. Well, if you count the mirror as one of four ways of solving it. But for the life of me right now, I can't remember any of these deductions. So it'll be fun to see if I can actually think straight when it's a little bit later. Right, rules. So, center diamond by Dr. Logic. Normal Sudoku rules apply. So that means the digits 1 to 9 in every row, such as row 5 here. Every column, such as column 5 here. And just to be awkward, every box, such as box 6 here. And remember, that's the digits 1 to 9 and no repeats. They have to be unique in all of these. German whispers. This is the green line. Adjacent digits must differ by at least 5. So essentially, think of these as adjacent. It's quite a long line. Let's go with this one, this 3-cell line. So if this was, for example, a 2, this would have to be 5 or more away. So that could be 7, 8, or 9. That would be one way of solving it. And then again, because this is 7, 8, or 9, this could be, let's say, 8. This would also have to be 5 or more away. So that could be 1 or 3, the 2 already placed in the box. And what you see happen on these German whispers lines is I oscillate between low digits, as in 1, 2, 3, or 4, high digits, 6, 7, 8, or 9, and then back to low. And if that German whisper line had continued, high, low, etc. Now notice when I included the digits, I never included the digit 5. And the reason for that should be very apparent if you try and place a digit that is 5 or more away adjacent to it. Right, we also have Renban rules, which is the purple lines. There's only one of them. It's 3 sets, 3 cells here. Form a set of consecutive digits in any order. So for example, if this is a 1, I typed a 2, I may as well go with it. This could be 3 and 4, or it could have been 1 and 3. It doesn't matter what it is, as long as all 3 digits in aggregate are consecutive. It doesn't have to be in a specific order. So, for example, that could be 1, 3, and 2. That would also be fine on a Renban line. Now, we also have the opposite of a Renban line. Just reverse the word, and you end up with the word Nabner, which is all the gold lines that you see in here, such as this 4-cell gold line, another 4-cell, another 4-cell. And Nabner lines have no digits along a Nabner line can be consecutive. So the example that Dr. Logic here gives is 135 is allowed, but 192 is not because the 1 and 2 are consecutive. I hope that's reasonably self-explanatory. It's almost like the flip of a Renban line. None of these digits could be consecutive. So if this is a 2, I can't put 1 or 3 anywhere in here because they'd end up being consecutive with the 2. Right, what else do we have? We have the diagonal and the crop key dots. So let's talk about the black crop key dot first, as Dr. Logic describes. So we have ratios, as in the black dot. Cells separated by a black dot must be in a 1 to 2 ratio, and not all are given. So let's take this black dot as an example. Whatever this cell is, this has to be in a 1 to 2 ratio, or a 2 to 1 ratio. So continue with my 2 example. If that was a 2, this could be a 1, as in 1 times 2 is 2. Or this could also be a 4, as in 2 times 2 is 4. Let's carry on with the 2 example with the white dot. Cells separated by a white dot must be consecutive, and again, not all are given. So if this cell is a 2, this could be a 1, as in 1 plus 1 is 2, or it could also be a 3, as in 2 plus 1 is 3. Both of these digits will be consecutive to the 2. Both of these digits will be in a 1 to 2 ratio with the 2. Now, I'll just explain what it means by not all are given. So imagine this actually was a 1. Nothing stops me from putting a 3 in here. Just the fact that these 2 digits are consecutive, these 2 cells, doesn't require a white dot in here. So this is totally fine as a solution. Well, as a pencil mark, let's go with that. Right, last rule before we can actually get started with this puzzle is the negative diagonal. Digits cannot repeat on the marked diagonal, which is row 1, column 1, all the way through to row 9, column 9. You can see that in this blue diagonal line that's going through all of these cells. And if you count them carefully, you will see that there are 9 cells in here. And the fact that none of them can repeat means you need to place the digits 1 to 9 once in each of these cells on this blue diagonal line. So, the only thing to be said now is I will look up the previous puzzle that is very similarly based on diamonds, and make sure there's a link in there somewhere that you can click on and enjoy as well if you haven't played it. But if you have played it and you're looking forward to nabbing this incredibly sized diamond that you saw in the thumbnail, I think we all are, then link will be in the description down below for you to play along as usual. And with that said, I'm going to restart the clock and see how I get on. So the way I'm thinking about this is, I think any regular viewer of the channel knows by now, I almost always play any black crop key dots that are, 3 cells or more and consecutive. And we've got 4 of them here. So I am going to start there, and then I am going to come back and try and remember whatever deduction I made about these diamond shapes. So, black crop key dots. First off, they can only ever be made up of these types of cells. 1, 2, 4, and 8. Excuse the typing. Essentially, these are almost like powers of 2. So 2 to the power of 0 is 1, 1 as in 2, 3, etc., 4. So each of these have a relationship with the digit next to it in a 1 to 2 ratio. And they are lovely when you have a run of digits like this. The other set of digits that you can have in a black crop key dot is a 3 and a 6. But notice there is nothing else in this set. 3 divided by 2 is 1.5. It's not even an integer number. Can't belong on today's, well, hopefully never on any Sudoku puzzle. I'm really not looking forward to having to solve one which includes decimal numbers. And then if you try and multiply 6 by 2, you'll get to 12. Far too big to be part of our digits of 1 to 9. Now the last set is 5, 7, and 9, and these can never be on a black crop key dot. Essentially 5 divided by 2 is 2.5. You'll see that 7 and 9 are also halving into non-integer digits. And 5 times 2, and same is true for 7 and 9, is a digit that is 10 or more. 10, 14, and 18. So again, could never be written in a single cell in here. Now, a long way of this introduction is to say, take a look at this set. 4 digits that are unique, all connected with a black crop key dot. Of course, it's the 1, 2, 4, and 8. Now, if you don't use the rest of the clues that you have in the grid, you'd be thinking, this is, well, I don't know how to resolve it, but that's not entirely true. You've got the Nabner line. If I put the 1 in here, that would require a 2, And remember, the 1 and 2 are consecutive, which is not allowed on these gold lines. So that forces this to be 8, 4, 2, 1, and we have a start. We can continue and have a think about this run of 3 digits. So again, this cannot be a 1 and 2 on the Nabner line. The way to think about it when it's a triplet is essentially the center cell. Actually, this is one way of doing it. So essentially, the 3 cells could be 8, 4, 2, or the 3 cells could be 1, 2, 4. Whatever, as you can see, whatever this is going to be the center digit of 2 and 4. And we know that this cannot be the 1, because 1 and 2 would be consecutive on the Nabner line. So what could this be? This could be 4, 2, 1. No, it can't be, because we have a white dot in here. And if I have 1 and 2 already, what's the 1 going to be consecutive to? So that is actually nonsense. So that is interesting. I'm actually even wondering if I can have a 2 in here. So if I can't put a 1, and I can't put a 4 because it's 4, 2, 1, and then I break it, I think the answer is this has to be a 4. This could be 2 or 8. So I could do 2, 4, 8, and then 7 or 9. I could also do 8, 4, 2, and then 1 or 3. Although I just noticed that this is on the German whisper line, and we actually know the polarity of this, so let's go with it. I already explained that it goes low, high, low, high. So all of these cells are going to be low, and I'm going to color them in blue. All of these cells are going to be high, and I'm going to color them red. And therefore, this is not 1 or 3, this is 7 or 9. That's an 8, that's a 2. Lovely. 1 is quite low, so I could basically have anything in here, 6, 7, 8, or 9. These 2 means I don't have 1, 3, 5, but I can have 6, 7, 8, 9. So it's kind of all leading towards having a think around this diamond. So let me see if I can kind of remember this deduction. So remember how I said the Renban line could be in any order? Because of this unique construction with the Nabner line around it, that's not entirely true. The center digit of this Nabner line, so let's just assume it's 1, 2, 3. The 2 has to be in the middle with the 1, 3 on either side, because if you have the 2 on any side, the other side will be 1 or 3, and then it will be consecutive on a Nabner line, and it cannot be consecutive. Now, my memory is saying something like this is 2 or 8, but let's just continue through the logic. So essentially, the center digit has to be in here. And it's going to be one color. I'm going to go say purple. And then these 2 cells are going to be orange, green. Now, could I have a 5 on here? Reason I'm asking that question is I'm wondering if these 2 cells are also purple because they are consecutive on this Renban line. But I'm just wondering if I have a 5, I could have like a gray cell. This is always in the center, so one of them is for sure going to be purple. I'm just going to pick at random. The other is, for the moment, I'm going to say purple or gray as in 5. I think that's because I'm ignoring what this could be. For this to be a 5, and I said the center digit has to be in here, this would have to be a 4 or 6. Now, if I put a 4 in here, that would require 2 9s around it, and that's impossible. So it is, in fact, the same color. This, excuse me, this has to be a run of 3 purple, whatever that is, and then 2 greens. Now, carrying on with that center digit a little bit more, a 4 doesn't work. A 3 also doesn't work because it would force me to put 8 and 9. They're the only 2 digits that are 5 or more away. And therefore, 3 doesn't work. So it can only be 2, 1, 3 with a 7 and a 9 around it. And then the other possibility is, I guess, essentially the total reverse of this. So essentially that would be an 8 with a 1 or 3 here and a 1 or 3 there, and then a 7 or 9. And we basically have a quadruple of 1, 3, 7, 9s. I'm going to remove all the colors so it doesn't get too confusing. I will remember to actually sort of think through that in a bit. And how do I move forward from here? Sorry, let me pause a moment. So I didn't actually mention why I am recording late. It's because there was a few fireworks and our little cute doggy here is, you know, she gets very scared of fireworks. So we're all up trying to calm her down. And she's slowly calming down, so hopefully I can knock this puzzle out and we can all head to bed shortly. Yeah, she's doing okay now. You want to say bye to everyone? Bye-bye. All right. Good girl. Sorry, I'm gonna remain distracted to keep an eye on her. Right, where was I? So interestingly, this is not 2 or 8 because it sees both. So it's not 2 or 8, it's not 1, 3, 7 or 9. This is not 1, 2, 3, it could be 4, 5, 6, and that's it. There's no other possibility. Let's see, what else can I think of here? Maybe it's time to think about these Nabner lines. So this can't be, well, I mean, it can't be 7 or 9. We've already placed those. Can't be 1 or 3. It could be a 2, and then that would be a 6. That's entirely plausible. So it's not 1, 2, 3. It could also be 4. No, can't be a 4. That's already a 4. And it can't be 5. That would be adjacent. It could be 6. And it's not 7 or 9. So I'm guessing we've got something very similar going on in here, in that this could be 8 or 6. Let me just work through that. It's not 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It can be 6. Why can't it be 7? Oh yeah, 7. It can be 8 and it can't be 9. So yeah, it is 2, 6. So I kind of have like 3 even digits in here. Interesting. And I've got 4 odd digits. So whatever this is in terms of odds or even, this is the opposite. And I just don't know what that is. Of course I do. This can't be a 5. Where does 5 go in this puzzle? Well, it's not in any of these. I've just literally pencil marked all of them, and it's not on a German whisper line. This is the 5. And therefore this is the other digit, the other even digit. Is there any way I can actually reduce? I'm sure I could. I'm sure I could. You know, everything's pointing towards this being a high digit because I've got 3 in the row. Now, obviously, I need to prove that before I take this further. If I can figure out what this is, that would place some digits for me. Not all of them, certainly, but some. Interesting puzzle. Interesting puzzle. There's really not a lot of information on here, so I think having to work through this is almost like mandatory, I'm going to say. The fact that this is 2 or 6, I'm kind of wondering if this is actually forcing this to be an even digit as well. So let me think this through. If this was a 6, then I can't do 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. And I guess I could do 1 or 2, presumably, if that was a 6. Now, if that was a 2, I can't do 1, 2, 3, 4. Actually, that's forced, is it? If that was a 2, that has to be a 6. And if that's 6, that would have to be either 1 or 2. Yeah, if that was a 2, everything is adjacent to these things except 5. Because 1, 2, 3 doesn't work. 4 and 5 don't work. 9, 8, and 7 doesn't work. This would be 6. So one of these is 6. Because it's either 6 and therefore this is 1 or 2, or it's 2 and this is definitely a 6. Okay, good to know. So presumably something very similar is going on here. Probably. Because I can't put 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. I can put 6, and that would force this to be an 8 or a 9, although it's not a 9 because I've already pencil marked it in here. So if that's an 8, that's definitely a 6. If that's a 6, that's 8 or 9. So something very strange is going on with 6s in the sense that they are definitely as such. Which tells me this isn't a 6. So this is... Have I just spent all of this time wondering what digit it is? And this was a 268 triplet. Goodness. Sleuth, sometimes. Just sometimes. Sleuth, sleuth, sleuth. And that's why I don't do puzzles late in the evening. Right. This is 1 or 2. This is a 9, 9. Sorry, I just placed the 4, obviously, because this is a 268 triplet. And only the 9 can be adjacent to the 4 on a German whispers line. This can now be 1, 3, or 4 again. And this could be, you know, any low digit. So I'm not necessarily going to even pencil mark this. Right. Let's try and do something useful or clever now. After kind of... Let's think about black Kropke dot. It feels like kind of the low-hanging fruit, maybe. Maybe. That's meant to be sort of helping us move forward here. So it's not 1 or 2, because we've got a 2 in here. It's not 2 or 4. It technically could be 4, 8. Technically. What would that look like? What would that do? This would have to be... So interestingly now, this can't be 6. This is 7, 8, or 9. And it's not a 9. This is 7 or 8. So if this is 4, 8, that's a 7. That would repeat the 1 in here. Because it can't be a 2. And a 7 can only be adjacent to 1 or 2. Wiping the 1 out of here, making this a 7, 8, 9. This is a 1, 3 pair. So I mean, so far that's okay. It's just it forces a lot of decisions. So if that's 4, 8, that's a 1. And then I place 7, 8. This would now be a 6. So 7, so 6, 7, and 8. This would have to be a 9. Wow. That's a lot of forced things if that's 4, 8. Now, what would be interesting is, what if this is 3, 6? What does that do? So 3, 6 is also the other possibility in here. Now, that still makes this 3, 6 because I've already placed a 6 and we already said one of these two is a 6, that's not a 6, that's still 7 or 8 because it's not a 9. So this could now be, notice because I already used the 3, 6, so I've already used the 3, that's a 2, that can't be a 4, that's always a 1. Wow, and that's a 2, 6 pair. Come back to that momentarily. And if I do 3, 6, that would be 8, so that would be 6, 8. That could still be a 7. Can't be a 9. This is always the 9. So it's 6, 8. That's the 6, 8 pair. Oh, sorry, yeah, that could be an... Even if that was the 8, I can't put an 8 in here. But I could put a 7. So it's not entirely decided, I'm going to say. Yeah. Right. Interesting bit is this is not 1, 2, 3. This is 7, 8, 9. That's the 8. And this is not 7 or 9. That's 1 or 3. Now that this is the 8, that's the 6, that's the 2, that's the 6. This is not 6. This is the 8 or 9, which unfortunately we can't necessarily determine. I don't know if coloring here is helpful at all. Looks pretty. Right, 7, 9's not in here. Sorry, I'm just thinking, like, is there anything that's forced that I'm not seeing? Yeah, 6 in here means this is not 3, 6. This is 4, 8, which forces this to be a 9. That's 4 and 8 done. There's another 1 and 3 in here somewhere. That's not a 1. And what else do I know? There is a 1 and 3 with a 7. What else do I know? I need a 2, and it's in one of these. Not sure I know much else. So the other two digits being 3 and 5, there is really not a lot of restrictions on them. So this is a 3, 5 pair, but that's about it for now. No, because the 5 can be in here. So I'm not being very articulate. I'm just trying to see if I can force a decision about any of these. And the answer is no, I don't see it anyway. So let's just keep going rather than just getting bogged down here. This is not 2 or 4. This is 1 or 3. There's at least a 2. So this could be a 1 and 2, meaning this is a minimum of 7. It's not 8 clearly, and it could be a 9. 1 and 3 are looking up here. Oh, well, 2 or 4 are allowed next to the 9. Yeah, I am not too sure where it's pointing me next. Not entirely sure what I'm meant to be seeing that I'm not seeing. So I may actually have to think about the white crop key dots in a moment, because that feels like the next step. But just before I do that, I'm just gonna double check that I haven't missed anything. And I kind of have. So 8, 8, no 8s in here. No 8 in here because of all of these 8s. That's an 8. That's a 9 staring at this. Goodness. So yeah, I've missed quite a few things. Let's just tidy up, I'm going to say. And see what else am I missing. This is surprisingly still not resolved. And this is still a 1 or 3. So there's a 1, 3, 5 in here with an 8. I mean, I could do 1, 2, 3 with a 4. The only thing that's definitely in here is a 6, which unfortunately is also not resolved. Is the diagonal useful or is it premature? It kind of feels premature, if I'm honest. Let's think about this cell because it's both on the diagonal where we've placed quite a few digits and we've got 1 and 2. So the fact that this is consecutive with something, one possibility is this could be a 3 with a 4. It can't be a 4, can't be a 2, that's not a 3. So this is not 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can do 6. I can do 7, not 8, and clearly, well, not clearly, I could probably do 9. And the reason I say I could do 9 because I could place, no, I can't place an 8 in here, so that's not 9. So this is actually quite restricted. So this is 6 or 7. The 6 can go with 5, 7. The 7 can go with a 6. So there's definitely a 6 in here. Definitely a 6 in there. And this is 6 or 7. I'm really not sure about a lot of things today. That doesn't seem like it helps much. I mean, I may have to think about this next, such as it's not 1, 2, 3, or 4. I mean, it can't be 5 because I've already placed a 6. And the 5 can't be next to a 4 or a 6, and it's not 6. So this is 7, 8, or 9. With an 8 definitely in between it, which gives me the 4, the 8. And that's helpful because I mean, I could see it places quite a few restrictions down here, but it's just not enough. I'm not entirely sure what I'm meant to see. I mean, I can place an 8 in here. 8s, 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 and 8s. Kind of eliminates all the 8s except this single cell. So I'll take it. It's a hard-earned 8. So can this cell give me any insight? So it can't be 7. So if I put 9 and 8, I can still put 6 and 7 in here. And this would be 3 and 5. So I mean, that's one possibility. And I can also do 7 and 8 with a 5 and 6 and a 3 and a 9 in here. That's another possibility. So all the possibilities, if that's 9, 8, that has to be 6, 7, and therefore 3, 5. Yep. If that's 7, 8, I force this to be 5, 6. That's a 3. That's a 9. So that is all the possibilities. Again, just doesn't feel like enough. Not keen on doing this, but am I really going to pencil mark all of this? So I know the 3 is not here because I've got a 1, 3 pair. So this is 5, 6, or 7. I mean, I'm going to just pencil mark the whole thing. 3, 5, 6, 7. So 3, 5, 6, 7. Except this is not 5. And this is not 5 either. Maybe this German whisper line will help. So that's 3. This is at least 8 or 9. And this will be 1 or 3. Well, it's not 3 because the 3 has to be here. So that's either 3 with a 1. Let's just remove the 6, 7. And then 8 or 9. That's one option. Option 2 is this is 6 or 7. If that was a 6, that would require a 1 and then a 3. Ah, that can't be low. If that's a 1, if that's a 6, that's a 1, excuse me. That's not going to be a 3. This would have to be the 6. So it's either 1 or 6. I don't know how I missed that. Because essentially, I'm going to delete everything in here. Just ignore that. I've only got 1 or 3 because I've got 2 and 4, except the 3 has to be in here, corner. Can't be there because of the 1, 3 pair. Or 7, 8, and 9, that has to be a 6. Now, if that's a 6, that's a 1, and then that would be a 7. So that would be one option. The other option would be that this is 1, 3 with an 8 or 9. Except it's not 8. This is 1 or 9. So there's a 1 for sure between these two, and 6 is somewhere between these. This is getting very involved. Very involved. Right. So it's 1, 3, 6, 7. One of these is a 5. This is not 1. This could be 3, 5, 6, not 7 though. So this could be 3, 5, 6. And this could be all of them. But that might be, is that a quintuple? 1, 3, 5, 6, 7. Surely this is not how you're meant to solve it. Really? I'm happy with the deduction. It's just, that's a very painful way of having to solve this, if that is the way. I started kind of filling things in. Given we have a quintuple of 1, 3, 5, 6, and 7 across these 5 cells, that can't be a 1. That has to be a 9. If it's a 9, I need to be surrounded by 2 low digits. That's the 1. That's the 3. That's the 3 in the column. That's the 4. One of these is a 5. Doesn't matter what it is. And to complete this, I need 2, 4, and 8, I'm going to say. That's not 4 or 8 up here. That's a 2. That's 4 or 8. And it just feels like I must have missed something else that would actually allow me to solve this a little bit more elegantly than what I've done here. This 4 gives me the order. That's the 8. That's the 4. Is 30 minutes already. Let's see if I can speed up a bit. That's not the 8. Therefore, this is the 8. Not quite. Yeah, not quite. This 4 tells me that's a 2. Four is one of these 4 cells in box 2. Just sort of looking down here, could this be a 4? And 4 is restricted to these 3 cells. I'm not going to pencil mark that just yet. That's not an 8. That's the 8. That's the 6. I'm just going to take the freebies. That's now 2 and 5. That's the 3. That's not a 3. That's 5 or 9. Pity. It's kind of not necessarily helpful. 2 and 5. What do I need in here? I need 1. Well, that's a 1. That's a 3. I know what these are now. This is 1 and 7. And I can clearly place this digit. It's a 5. That's not the 5. That is the 5. That's a 6, 7 pair staring at another 5. That's a 5, just Sudoku. That 7 is staring in here. That was a 6, a 7. 6 goes all the way down the diagonal to give me a 7 down here. That's got to be a 6 because we had a 6 pencil mark. That's the 9. That's the 5. That's 7 gives me the 1. The 7, unbelievably not resolved. This 1, 3. And this 1, 2. But what a flurry of activities. I'm going to take it. And distract myself with not very useful coloring. Just because that is a 9 though. Which unfortunately means that can actually still remain a 3. And have I basically used all the clues at this point? I feel like I have. Not the diagonal, so let's just finish that and then it's just straightforward Sudoku. So I need a 1 and a 3, I'm going to say, on the line that's not been done. This one gives me the order. That's the 1, that's a 3, that's a 3. That's incredibly not resolved. That's both of these done. And then we are, I guess, just doing Sudoku. 3s with this 3. 1s, not quite. Not quite. 2, also not quite. 2 and 6. This 6 gives me the order. That's a 6. That's a 2. I'm just going to pencil mark what these are. That's 1, 5, and 9, I'm going to say. You can see a 9 and 5 in here. That's a 1. That's a 5. That's a 9. That's 9 and 7. 7 gives me the order. I'm going to stop coloring in a second. Sorry, that was someone knocking at our door at 9 p.m. That is very strange. Right, we need a 4 and something in here. 4 and 6. 6 tells me the order. That's the 6. That's the 4. That's the 4. That's not the 6. That's the 6. I need another 1 and 2. That 2 tells me this is the 1. This is the 2. And this is a 6 to finish the box. I have something missing in here. A 7. I need a 1. A 3. 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. I need a 5 and 7. That 7 tells me this is the 5, the 7. 5 helps me resolve these, the 2 and the 5. And 2 more digits to finish this up. 2 and 4. Wow. So like I mentioned in the beginning, I'm not used to having to think this hard that late in the evening. The irony is, though, is that when we were based in Asia, having worked for an American company, there were many, many evenings where you do have to work during the evening just to catch up with colleagues in the US. So I had plenty of practice, but clearly I'm not very good at it. Or this puzzle is much harder than the rating that it's been given, which is also a possibility. Because, I mean, I think this is the obvious start. This is an obvious start. Then the German whisper helps quite a bit. And then you don't have enough information other than having to crack this diamond. And cracking diamonds, everybody knows, is a very difficult thing to do. Then you have to think about these Nabners. Yes, I was very slow to spot that this is a 4, But again, even once you do, it takes you a very long time to go through these Kropki dots to get that this is the 1 and 3, the 7, 8, 9. Then the white dots giving you the possibilities. And I just don't see how I could have avoided not having to find this quintuple. So yeah, this doesn't feel like a 1-star difficulty puzzle to me. It's all logical steps, but I think, all that initial thinking around box 5 kind of suggests it's a 2-star puzzle in my opinion. Well, really looking forward to everyone's comments. I hope you enjoyed the puzzle. Another phenomenal one from Dr. Logic. Thank you for sharing it and creating it. And hope you guys enjoyed the video as well. From now on, back to normal hours. Bye for now.